For the price of a half pint, your pint will overflow. Tolkien fans, are you ready for the ultimate review of Rings of Power Season 2? Join me and fellow hosts from Captain's Pod, Lorehounds, and Rings and Rituals for a 2-hour live stream event where we will dive deep into Amazon's Rings of Power Season 2. From story breakdowns and character debates to Tolkien's lore, we've got it all, and we want you to be a part of it. Submit your questions, vote in live polls, and engage with fellow fans. Don't wait, register now at ringspodcast.com/live. Early bird pricing ends October 1st, so head to ringspodcast.com/live and grab your spot today.
Old Tom Bombadil is a merry fellow. Bright blue jacket is, and his boots are yellow.
Rings of Power consistently amazes me in at least one way: the music. I'm grateful for this because Middle-earth is literally created from music. It was sung into existence. Music is at the deepest nature of all creation in Middle-earth. From Tolkien's Silmarillion, quote, "It is said by the Eldar that in water there lives yet the echo of the music of the Ainur, the song that created the world, more than in any substance else that is in this earth. And many of the children of Iluvatar hearken still, unsated, to the voices of the sea, and yet know not for what they listen." Go back to episode 1 of Lore of the Rings for more context on that quote. And it's for this exact reason, the creation of the world through music, that we find so many songs and poems in the Lord of the Rings. All creatures sing, and in particular, the elves. But today we are not exploring the song of creation nor the songs of the elves. Today we are exploring the song of the most mysterious creature in Middle-earth. Today we will wander into the lyrics of not one, not two, but 3 songs from the soundtrack of Rings of Power Season 2. All these songs relate in some fashion to Tom Bombadil. We'll explore the song called Old Tom Bombadil, the song about his wife Goldberry called The River Daughter, and a reprise of Old Tom Bombadil, which includes some singing by the stranger. And to finish our wandering today, I'll share a personal story I experienced with one of these songs, if you'll allow it. Before we dig in, I'd like to remind you that if you enjoy this episode, make sure you're subscribed and to leave a 5-star rating and review. If you've been waiting for a compelling episode to share with your best friend, I humbly recommend that this is the one. Tap that share button and invite your friend to wander Middle-earth together with us. Much appreciation to this show's executive producer, The Old One. If you would like to receive an appreciative shout-out, head to ringspodcast.com/donate and find a membership that's right for you. Now, let's wander. First, the inspiration behind why I want to explore these lyrics goes back to a similar breakdown I did a few years ago. That episode explored the lyrics of the song called This Wandering Day, or as the Harfoots call it, the Walking Song, from Season 1 of Rings of Power. In that wandering, which you can find in episode 43 of Lore of the Rings, I felt very convinced that the song reflected Galadriel's physical and emotional journey to wisdom in the first age of Middle-earth. Though we had not yet seen a minute of the new show, and only had the music to go on. Regardless of my theories, the song was a powerful prayer to a higher power, a message that deeply touched me, and still does to this day, and I can hardly sing it without tears in my eyes. Now we're in the middle of Season 2. As of this recording, only 6 episodes have been released, and Tom has shown up in 2 of them. I know I'm behind in reviewing episode 6, but let me say now that my reaction to Tom Bombadil as portrayed in this series is mixed. I think some elements are done really well, but on the whole, Rings of Power has fundamentally misunderstood this character, pretty much in keeping with a lot of my lore reactions to the series. But not these songs, and here's why. With the exception of one line, every word of these songs is entirely Tolkien's own words. To be fully transparent, I did not pick up on that fact when I first listened to them, and it was only in researching this episode that I realized that nearly all of the lyrics came directly from Fellowship of the Ring. Let's dig into the first of the 3, titled Old Tom Bombadil. This song is coupled together from 3 different songs that Tolkien wrote into Fellowship of the Ring. The opening verse, quote, "Now let the song begin, let us sing together," comes from the verse that Goldberry sings at the end of the chapter The Old Forest. At this point, Tom has just saved Frodo, Sam, Pippin, and Merry from the Old Man Willow Tree, and he has invited them to his home for safety. Having gone on ahead, as the hobbits struck closer to Tom's house, they hear, quote, Another clear voice, as young and as ancient as spring, like the song of a glad water flowing down into the night from a bright morning in the hills. This voice and song are the Hobbit's first introduction to Goldberry, the River Daughter. If you followed the Lore of the Rings podcast before I started reviewing the Rings of Power series, you'll remember that we've been taking a slow wandering through these very chapters, and we looked very carefully at Goldberry's voice and what she represents as a character. Go back to episode 162 of Lore of the Rings to refresh your mind on that tale. These lyrics serve as a perfect opening verse to old Tom Bombadil. They ground us in nature, in hard, tangible, natural things that we can touch, see, and experience. But before that, they start with an invitation. Come, be in harmony, let us sing together. If you have ever attended a religious service or even a rock concert, you will have experienced the harmony that comes when groups of individuals come together and sing a song. It's a powerful act of worship and admiration. And an invitation is precisely what Tom has given the hobbits. Quote, "You shall come home with me. You follow after me as quick as you are able." With the invitation in place, the harmony beginning to emerge, we are now grounded in nature. And the first elements of nature that draw our attention: sun, stars, and moon. In other words, all of the currently existing primary sources of light in Middle-earth. Even these sources draw our minds to their beginnings. The sun and moon birthed from the light of the two trees of Valinor. Go back to Lore of the Rings episode 2 for that tale. And the stars having been the pure creation of one of the Valar, the guardians of Middle-earth, and the elves' favorite, Elbereth. After light comes what might seem like negative elements of nature: mist, rain, and cloudy weather. These, however, often appeal to the creative nature inside of us. There's something mysterious about mist and fog, something reflective about rain that plays with our imaginations. Not only that, but mist, rain, and clouds are all forms of water, an element of nature for which Goldberry personifies, along with light. The next few lines focus on very small details of nature that might be missed if we pass by too quickly. Light on the budding leaves, dew on a bird's feather, bells of heather, and even wind on hills. Each of these small things can be taken for granted or go unnoticed. With the exception of wind on the hill, in order to observe these small details, we would have to stop and closely examine the nature that surrounds us. From these lines, we have an invitation to harmony, a recognition of light and the powers that govern Middle-earth, and an intimate observation of the beauty in nature. These are the exact perfect lines to describe Tom and Goldberry, who are the very divine personification of nature. The second verse is a combination of two songs. The first half goes like this, quote, "Old Tom Bombadil is a merry fellow. Bright blue his jacket is, and his boots are yellow." This is a line that Tom sings about himself, even repeatedly. When the hobbits stay at Tom's house, they are waylaid by a rainy day, or as Tom calls it, quote, "Goldberry's washing day." Tom has chores to do around the house and sings constantly, and often returns to that very line, usually accompanied by, quote, "Many a dairy doll and a merry doll and a ring-a-ding-dillo." The second half of this verse goes like this, quote, "Reeds by the shady pool, lilies on the water, old Tom Bombadil and the River Daughter." These lines are from the song that the hobbits hear from Goldberry as they follow on the path to the house. Note in these lines the focus on simple, yet beautiful, natural creations. Reeds by a shady pool and water lilies. When the hobbits first meet Tom, he is carrying lilies back from the water pool where he first met Goldberry centuries earlier. And the last line. Note the combination of Tom and Goldberry together. These two are the perfect blending of opposites, the harmony that comes when diverging interests converge. In Fellowship, you'll find many examples of this blending, but I find it best articulated this way. As Tom and Goldberry prepare dinner for the hobbits, their opposite natures are highlighted, quote, "Yet in some fashion they seemed to weave a single dance, neither hindering the other, in and out of the room, and round about the table." Okay, so far we have an invitation to unity and harmony, deep understanding of nature, and the blending of opposites. Let's keep going. The main chorus of this song is repeated 3 times. These lines are actually sung not by Tom or Goldberry, but by Frodo Baggins. When he first meets Goldberry, he is so overcome with marvel and so enchanted by her that he breaks forth singing these words, quote, "O slender as a willow wand, O clearer than clear water, O reed by the living pool, fair river daughter. O springtime and summertime and spring again after. O wind on the waterfall and the leaves' laughter. When he realizes what he's doing, he suddenly stops short, quote, overcome with surprise to hear himself saying such things. But as the song hints at, Goldberry simply laughs and accepts the compliments. What catches my interest here is that these words are about Goldberry, not Tom, and yet this song is called Old Tom Bombadil. Goldberry is the slender willow wand, she is the reed by the living pool, she is the river daughter. She brings spring and summer and then spring, while Tom is more closely associated with autumn, if you read these chapters carefully. So why emphasize Goldberry so much in a song supposedly about Tom Bombadil? Here's one theory. Because Tom cannot be understood on his own. Because Tom is not an individual. He is part of a beautiful whole. He and Goldberry complement one another. They are the perfect representation of high natural beauty, the blending of opposites that creates something deeper and more meaningful than either could do on their own. Go back to episode 163 of Lord of the Rings to explore this idea further. To finish off this song, we have the trailing line, quote, Old Tom Bombadil is a merry fellow. The final words are sang at a higher pitch, evoking a sort of somber joy in my mind, almost as if the last line of the song were another invitation. Old Tom is merry. He's found perfect joy and contentment in his place. He loves nature. He loves the river daughter. He is whole and complete. He has no unmet needs. He is the master of himself and has no desire for power or magic or rings of power, and those things have no power over him. Perhaps this last line is an invitation. Could we be more like Tom? Might we find contentment in nature, connection with those that we love, a feeling of wholeness and completeness in these transcendent relationships? I hear such an invitation, and in a moment I'll share a personal story that this song inspired. But before we get to that, we have two other songs to explore. We'll do that right after this break. We're not done yet. If you like this episode, please leave a review and share with your friends. And remember to subscribe if you haven't already. We'll be right back.
Have you seen Chuck Norris lately? He's still kicking butt and staying active well into his 80s. What's even more shocking is he looks more jacked than ever and seems to have more energy than guys half his age. And it's all thanks to Morning Kick, a revolutionary new daily drink from Roundhouse Provisions that combines ultra-potent greens like spirulina and kale with probiotics, prebiotics, collagen, and even ashwagandha. Just mix with water, stir, and enjoy. Unlike other green drinks out there, this one tastes exactly like strawberry lemonade and has hundreds of 5-star reviews. Go to roundhouseprovisions.com/save44 for up to 44% off your regular priced order. Plus, every purchase is backed by a 90-day money-back guarantee. So if you want to experience smoother digestion, a boost of energy, and just an overall healthier body, then go to roundhouseprovisions.com/save44 today. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Results can vary.
Are you ready to dive deeper into Tolkien's world? If you've ever struggled to read the Silmarillion, I've got just the thing for you. I've created a free guide packed with my best tips to help you conquer this epic book. Whether you're a seasoned reader or tackling it for the first time, this guide will make your journey through the first age of Middle-earth more rewarding than ever. Head over to ringspodcast.com to download your free guide today. Your adventure deeper into Middle-earth starts now. Visit ringspodcast.com today for your free guide. The next song to explore is called The River Daughter. The River Daughter, as we explored before, is Tom's love, Goldberry. While this song is given in her voice, we find the exact words printed in Fellowship, where it is sung by Tom as an invitation. After Tom has saved the hobbits from Old Man Willow, he invites them to his house. But he is faster than they are, and he sings this song back to them to encourage them. The lyrics are exactly as Tolkien wrote them. You can find them near the end of the chapter called The Old Forest in Fellowship of the Ring. What I love about this composition is that Goldberry is singing almost as if this were a lullaby. There's something reassuring about her motherly voice, promising protection from a father figure who has gone on ahead and tamed the path, so that we have nothing to fear as we continue forward. Then the song adds to the promise of light and a loving welcome once we reach our destination, even in the darkest of times. When the night shadows have fallen and menacing trees encroach upon our path, we can find light, protection, and a warm welcome. When all seems lost, then the door will open. I see in these words a little hint of what Tolkien called eucatastrophe, or the good catastrophe, that sudden fortunate turn of events that saves all from the brink of hopeless defeat. For Tolkien, the greatest eucatastrophe was the saving grace of Jesus Christ, who saved mortal men from sin and death. This song is a microcosm of some of the main themes of Lord of the Rings. A way has been prepared, yet our heroes must exert their greatest efforts to spread light among the darkness, and in the end, their hopes will be honored. And lastly, let's look at the third Tom-related song from Season 2 of Rings of Power. This song is simply titled Old Tom Bombadil, Reprise. This one is unique from the other two for a few reasons. First, this song is sung by Tom Bombadil, but he is also joined by the stranger/wizard in a duet style. Second, the actual actors portraying these characters sing this song. Since we haven't seen it on screen yet, I can only assume that in a later episode, Tom and the stranger will actually sing this. Perhaps, surprisingly, I am looking forward to that. And third, this song features lines from the first Old Tom Bombadil song, but also includes the one line in all of these songs that is not written by Tolkien, quote, "Sand flies in the grass, bees around the willow." It's a fine addition, since it again recalls the idea of a close observation of nature, even if it does focus a bit more on the insect kingdom than what we usually find in Tolkien songs. However, the first line, quote, "Merry-doll, derry-doll, ring-a-ding-dillo," is directly from Fellowship. These nonsense words are characteristic of Tom, who seems to say things like this simply because he loves the way they sound. He finds an aesthetic beauty in the sound of these words. The balance of the song are the two verses from the first song that we've explored before. So if I had to guess, I think Tom is trying to teach the stranger to be still, to be content, to slow down and observe the beauty of nature that is around him. Tom has this effect on the hobbits when they are sheltered in his house. He tells them many tales, especially of nature. Quote, "He told them tales of bees and flowers, the ways of trees. As they listened, they began to understand the lives of the forest." Tom has the power of understanding the nature that is around him, not from a scientific botanist sort of way, but more like the understanding of a divine being that appreciates beauty and can empathize with all creation, knowing them as beings with a life and motivations apart from his own. Perhaps this is the lesson that Tom will impart to the stranger. That remains to be discovered until we've seen the entire season. To close us out today, do you mind if I get a little personal for a moment? I'd like to share the first time I listened to the Old Tom Bombadil song. I sat in my office on a Sunday afternoon. I don't recall a real reason, but I felt compelled to pull up the music for the new season of Rings of Power. I knew that the first episode would be released in a few weeks, and I didn't want to give myself any spoilers. But even then, I had some inkling that Tom Bombadil would be making his on-screen debut. So when I opened the soundtrack for Season 2, the first song I played was this very song, Old Tom Bombadil. From the very first lines, I was captivated. My heart and mind felt still. My eyes caught the passing of some white clouds, floating through the yellow of the late afternoon sunshine. Something inside me was moved in connection to the nature of this beautiful world. But that wasn't the most touching insight from this experience. Within a minute or two of starting this song, my 5-year-old daughter wandered into my office. I know not what chaos or playful distractions she left behind, but she simply asked me, "What are you listening to?" I replied, "Old Tom Bombadil. Want to listen with me?" She answered not with words, but by climbing into my lap and curling up into my shoulder. My fingers pulled through her golden hair as we absorbed the lyrics. Before long, both she and I started to pick up on the chorus. Old Tom Bombadil is a merry fellow. Bright blue his jacket is, and his boots are yellow. We took turns singing the lines, trading every few words. Since that golden moment, we've shared a little duet many times. I call out, "Old Tom Bombadil," and she responds, "Is a merry fellow." And you've probably figured this out by now, but it was her singing that very line at the beginning of this episode. I hope you don't mind me sharing this with you, and I can already hear the comments and negative reviews coming after me. But to me, this is the very deep purpose of J.R.R. Tolkien's world and works. To connect each of us to those things that truly, deeply matter. To move us, to transcend us to a deeper, higher way of thinking and feeling. Or as Tolkien himself once articulated it, quote, "Possessing, if I could achieve it, the fair, elusive beauty that some call Celtic. It should be high, purged of the gross, and fit for the more adult mind of a land long now steeped in poetry." We could parse that quote down in many different ways. For me today, I find that elusive beauty in Middle-earth, and I especially experience that beauty as I share Middle-earth with those I love most, like my golden-haired daughter, as we sing Old Tom Bombadil together on a sunny afternoon. So I say cheers and well done to the crafters of this magnificent song. Bear McCreary for the composition, Rufus Wainwright for the performance, and mostly to J.R.R. Tolkien for the beauty that he shared with you and I. Thank you for wandering Middle-earth with me and my daughter today. My friends, if you enjoyed this episode, let me know by subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing with your friends. Follow me on Facebook or Instagram at Lore of the Rings Podcast. For feedback on the show, please email me using the link in the show notes. Until next Thursday, remember, not all those who wander are lost. Are you ready to dive deeper into Tolkien's world? If you've ever struggled to read the Silmarillion, I've got just the thing for you. I've created a free guide packed with my best tips to help you conquer this epic book. Whether you're a seasoned reader or tackling it for the first time, this guide will make your journey through the first age of Middle-earth more rewarding than ever. Head over to ringspodcast.com to download your free guide today. Your adventure deeper into Middle-earth starts now. Visit ringspodcast.com today for your free guide. For the price of a half pint, your pint will overflow. Tolkien fans, are you ready for the ultimate review of Rings of Power Season 2? Join me and fellow hosts from Captain's Pod, Lorehounds, and Rings and Rituals for a 2-hour live stream event where we will dive deep into Amazon's Rings of Power Season 2. From story breakdowns and character debates to Tolkien's lore, we've got it all, and we want you to be a part of it. Submit your questions, vote in live polls, and engage with fellow fans. Don't wait, register now at ringspodcast.com/live. Early bird pricing ends October 1st, so head to ringspodcast.com/live and grab your spot today.